Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. I forgot to bring my cell phone, the big one, the Android. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhaja Kacharya Astu Tarasati Shishimad Sri Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Shri Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnupada Paramahansa Paribhaja Kacharya Astu Tarasati Shishimad Shri Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Thakur Prabhupada Ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vindiki Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to the assembled devotees, all glory to Shri Guru, Shri Gaurang. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Upakata Ahyam Dadati Parandikam Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivashari Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, I was requested to speak something about Prabhupada. So I mentioned something yesterday. So I'll just begin by reading this full, not the full exchange, because it's one of the longest conversations that Prabhupada ever had with the devotees, but just some excerpts, which shows why Prabhupada said we have to fight, and what it means to fight. So Prabhupada, this is from 2nd November 1976, where Prabhupada was gathered the devotees. There was a lot of threat from disgruntled parents that were not happy that their children had joined Krishna consciousness. I'll tell a story about that also, about one devotee. And then, so Srila Prabhupada called the devotees together for this meeting, and some Indian people. Prabhupada, we should not be afraid. Yudhyasva ma manushmaram. Krishna advised Arjuna that you fight. Not that we shall not fight. We shall fight to the best. And this is good. They are feeling the pressure of this movement. Otherwise, why are they going to take a step? They must be feeling something. So Prabhupada, then he continues. Combined together in Vrindavan. Prabhupada chose Vrindavan. Kurukshetra battle starts in Kurukshetra, but the fight to establish Krishna consciousness, Srila Prabhupada actually began that fight in the sense of when he went to Vrindavan and stayed in Radha Damodar. So we can say that in one sense, in the modern times, Radha Damodar is the beginning of this movement. Because Prabhupada was sitting there taking permission from Rupa Goswami. And sometimes these cell phones. And he was meditating on how to spread Krishna consciousness. Because that's the actual fight. When Srila Prabhupada arrived in USA, in Boston, he saw the challenge. He said that all of these people, they're in the mode of passion and ignorance. Just like at that time in India, you maybe saw a few ambassador cars. That was it. There was nothing else. And Prabhupada saw all these cars going back and forth, running around. No, he said, this is totally the mode of passion. And but then he said, Krishna, for some reason you have brought me here. So this is the fight that we have with our mind and our senses, and with destiny. Because with destiny, so many things happen and we can't understand why it's happening. Even Prabhupada, sometimes he couldn't understand. When he was, after he came to New York, he stayed for some time. Nobody came. He was staying with Dr. Misra, and then Dr. Misra became frustrated with Prabhupada because he was attracting all his clients. No? To him, preaching was meaning clients. You get money. So he was very frustrated that Prabhupada's attracted. So he said, Swamiji, you can chant, but no speaking. No, you can chant, but don't speak. And so, otherwise he wanted Prabhupada just to be an instrument, attract the people, and I will tell them all my Mayavad nonsense and get their money. That was the idea. So Srila Prabhupada, he said, we will come together in Vrindavan. Vrindavan he began. Of course, really it began in Calcutta when Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur told Prabhupada. Prabhupada said later that this instruction of my spiritual master, I never forgot it. And then Prabhupada said with all his humility, I wasted so much time. Otherwise, meaning grihastha life, making money, having a business. Of course, this was all Krishna's plan. Because most of the people in our movement are grihasthas. How many brahmacharis? We have a few brahmacharis and so many grihasthas here. And this is a very strict, but what to speak of the West, where it's not so strict, and everybody grows up thinking that sex life is the goal of existence. And so Prabhupada gave the example by being a grihastha and being a responsible grihastha. Not like nowadays getting divorced, separating. Prabhupada said about that, just like you have become just like monkeys jumping from tree to tree. I will have nothing more to do with marriages. No. You figure it out. If you want to be married, you be married. If you don't want, because Prabhupada was very frustrated. And now this is becoming popular in India. India still has much less separation. But now, okay, it's okay. Because they've taken away the spiritual aspect of marriage. Marriage is a promise before the deities, before the spiritual master, that I will serve this husband, I will take care of this wife. No. It's very sacred. After initiation, after diksha, vivaha, yajna is the most important. Because diksha means birth after birth. But that means the whole lifetime. It's a whole lifetime commitment. So let us come together, Vrindavan. Fight. Without fight, where is life? If there is no fighting, then what is that life? That is dead stone. Fight must be there. Krishna's whole life is fighting from the very birth. His father carried him to Gokula where he is still living. And he fell down from the Yamuna. And just born, fighting began, just born. And at Yashoda Mai's house, Nanda Maharaja's house, so many demons daily coming. Shakatasura, Aghasura, Bakasura, Putana, so on, so on. Ultimately, Kamsa, when he was a young boy, Vrindavan, so many asuras came. You have seen the pictures. Krishna is fighting with the horse demon, with the bull, fighting. If Krishna is fighting, why not Krishna consciousness? The same thing. You cannot expect peaceful life. It's just like people nowadays, oh, I want peace. No. Even one famous British author, he wrote a poem about meat eating. And he said, this is the cause of war. How can they think they'll be peaceful if they're killing the animals? Now, of course, he was a vegetarian. He was very determined. He had some exposure to India. All this comes from India. Everything comes from India. Everything comes from Krishna. India comes from Krishna. But Krishna chose India to manifest his pastimes. Therefore, it's a very special place. You can't take that away. And so there's no peaceful life. People want peace, but the body will never give you peace. Kamadina katina katida palita urni desha tesham jatamai na karuna na trapa nopashanti. This material body, the senses, the mind, nopashanti, they will never leave you in peace. 24 hours a day, they will be attacking. No, there's no peace. Peace means, I always tell people, peace means it descends from the spiritual plane. That is the only way you can be peaceful. Bhukti mukti siddhikam shakaleya shanta. Krishna bhakti nishkam atayeva shanta. Only a devotee can be peaceful, because a devotee is importing peace. Peace is a condition of the heart. It's not an external. There's no peace. You go out, everybody loves nature. You go out in nature, mosquitoes, snakes, tigers, leopards, bears, so many things. When I was a young boy, we lived in the mountains, and one day this little bear cub came, and I thought it was a dog, so I started playing with it, it was playing with me, and then the mother came, chasing after me. I ran like anything and just made it to the door of the house, closed the door, and the bear is scratching on the door. So where is the peace? I was in the peaceful mountains, no peace. No, there must be fighting. They think that is Krishna's presence, his fight. So this fighting means they're feeling the presence of the Krishna consciousness movement. Otherwise, why are they arranging fight? Had it been an insignificant thing, there was no question of fighting. Otherwise, if our movement was just insignificant, Srila Prabhupada will explain more about this. There was no question of fighting. He speaks something in Hindi. He said the gun, howitzer gun. This was a big gun in World War II that the Germans invented. It was a big, big cannon, and the British were very afraid of it because it could go all the way. At that time, there were no big missiles or anything. But this cannon could go all the way into England. What is that? Germans, some gun. They will go from this part, this side of the English Channel to the other, Calais. The other side of Calais. That's one city in France, right on the coast, that's where the boats go across. And so Prabhupada said, yes, so this big gun is required, not for killing a mosquito, big enemy. Otherwise, you don't make a big gun to kill a mosquito. So they are preparing this big gun, and not the mosquito. This Mahesh Yogi and this yogi, that yogi, you see, they are mosquitoes. For them, they don't require any gun. Otherwise, at Prabhupada's time, there were all these yogis going to America, Europe, and they would always have a big beard and flower in their hand. And they would be, and everybody, oh yes, very nice. So for them, No problem. They are preparing big gun. So big enemy, big gun. That means Hare Krishna movement. Hare Krishna movement is big enemy. It is not mosquito. So you remain big enemy. You don't become a mosquito. That is wanted. So here's Prabhupada's instruction. No. We don't want this movement to be very peaceful. Everything's very nice. And then nobody comes. Prabhupada said one time, they brought Prabhupada an article, and they were criticizing the movement like anything. Prabhupada, this is very good. This means we are preaching. No. If there's no criticism, that means we're not preaching. We're just laying around eating and sleeping. No. So this means we should, of course, here in India it's a little different. We can have a good reputation. But still, the atheists, the materialists, the Congress Party, they will all object. Because they want materialistic society. So this is a problem. Immediately arrange this meeting here. Call all the Vaishnavas. So Prabhupada was saying, get the Gaudiya Vaishnavas, get the Srila. Let them say how authorized this movement was. Prabhupada said for this whole thing, he said, all the rich men in India, you bring them together and you tell them, this is to defend, this is not Hare Krishna movement, this is defending Hinduism. No. And then one devotee said, but Prabhupada, sometimes they say we're not Hindus. And Prabhupada said, look in the dictionary. It says Krishna, Hindu God. No. So we're worshiping Krishna, Hindu God. We are Hindus. No. Of course, when Prabhupada didn't want to, he said, we are not Hindus. But we're included. Vaishnavas are included in Hinduism. Everything is included in Hinduism. No. So then he ends. So far Krishna is concerned, everyone. So Prabhupada was saying everyone. Everyone is included in Krishna consciousness. So this was Srila Prabhupada's move. And therefore the Sankirtan movement, that is the fight. Srila Prabhupada, he pushed the Sankirtan movement. Even when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu began the Sankirtan movement, fight. Immediately. No, there was a fight. Even before Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared, there was a fight against Krishna consciousness. No. And it wasn't the Muslims in the beginning, it was the Brahmanas, the Shmarta Brahmins. They did not like what Advaitacharya was doing. They didn't like the kirtans. One time they had a big kirtan, and in the house of Shivas, and the neighbors came, and they said, you stop this, otherwise the Muslims will come and condemn us. But that wasn't what their concern was. Their concern was that so many people were joining the Sankirtan movement, and that would mean bad business. What about our yajnas where we're charging money, getting donations? They're taking away our business. They saw everything as business. And so Advaitacharya came. He was very angry. They said, if you don't stop this Sankirtan, we will break down your house and throw it in the Ganga. Of course, they couldn't do that in South India with stone houses, but then, and so then Advaitacharya came, and he said, only the Supreme Lord can do this. So the devotees considered him the Supreme Lord, and they said, you must do this. You are the Supreme Lord. He said, no, only Krishna can do. Therefore, I will pray for Krishna to come. And if he doesn't come, I will take my Sudarshan chakra and I will cut off all their heads. This is Vishnu, likes a good fight. And then he prayed, and Lord Chaitanya came, and immediately they started Sankirtan, and they came and broke the Mridanga, the Kazi. He said, if you do this again, I will punish you. I will break all your Mridanga, I will put you in jail. So they told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, immediately a fight. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu organized such a big, there were only a few hundred devotees, but all of a sudden there were millions of devotees. Where did they come from? They came from spiritual world to attack they had the mood attack. They said, let us tear up his garden. Let's tear down his house. Let's kill all these atheists. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was calming them down. And when the Muslim guards, they saw this big army of Sankirtan coming, thousands, millions of people with torches. It was lighting up the sky. It looked like daytime. I remember when I was a young boy, I went to Las Vegas, famous gambling place in the U.S., and there were so many lights, it looked like daytime. I was amazed. And after I heard about this Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's march on the house of Chand Kazi, we have it here. And so I remembered that. Yes, it was just like daytime. And so some of the Muslim guards, they covered their beard and they went, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. And I said, I don't want to get killed. No. So, it's like when Nrsimhadev started killing all these soldiers left and right, the rest of the soldiers said, let's go, or let's get, Kshatriyas don't run away. But against Nrsimhadev, yes, you run away. No, that definitely. And devotee doesn't run away. Therefore, Sridhar Swami, he made a verse, I can't remember the verse now, but it says that just like the lioness, when she opens her mouth, all the animals run away in fear. But the cub, the little lion, he feels very safe in the mouth. So that's the same with Lord Nrsimhadev. He appears very ferocious to the atheists, but to the devotees, he is so kind and gentle. They see his big gaping mouth as a big smile, blessing the devotees. So anyway, going back to Srila Prabhupada. So the Sankirtan movement is a challenge to materialistic life. When we go out and distribute books, what are we saying? We're saying everything you're living for, everything you want to enjoy, forget about it. Just like Prabodhananda Saraswati said. He said that, how do you preach? You go to someone, you offer dandavat. And then you say, my dear sir, you are the most intelligent, you are the most capable, you are the wealthiest, you are the most powerful. And then they go, oh yes, go ahead. Continue to speak. I only have one request, anything you want. Just forget about all this and surrender to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So that is our preaching. But we're offering the book that tells them everything you're doing is nonsense. Your whole life is a failure. You were in a miserable condition. They're thinking I'm happy. And so this is the fight this is our fight. Therefore, it's not with guns and knives and arrows. Prabhupada said if that time comes, we're not afraid. We can also do that. A devotee is never afraid. Prabhupada begins this conversation by saying, we are never afraid. We simply want this Krishna consciousness movement to go on. But Prabhupada was so compassionate. One time on a beach, Prabhupada in 1967, he had another heart attack. So he went to this beach near New York City in New Jersey, Long Island, New Jersey, where Long Island ends, New Jersey Beach. Prabhupada said, my Guru Maharaj, he was feeling ill. He went to Jagannath Puri on the beach side. He said, the beach is very good. The air is full of iron and minerals coming from the ocean. So it's very healthy. So Prabhupada went there. And the devotees were very happy. The Prabhupada was so compassionate. So the devotees in New York, they were very strict. Like Salem. And the devotees in California, they were a little more easygoing, everything, the hippies were all there. And, so they sent a recording to Srila Prabhupada and of kirtan, and it was with guitars and all kinds of instruments. And the New York devotees said, Prabhupada, they're not following your tune. They're not following how you taught us, They were, criticizing. No, And then Prabhupada was listening to it, and he started going and singing along with it. And Prabhupada said, the important thing is they chant Hare Krishna. This is the otherwise materialistic people. Therefore, we go out on Harinam Sankirtan. So then, Prabhupada was sitting another day on the beach, and a slug, slug, this looks like a worm, but it has this slimy substance, it leaves a trail. I don't know what they call that in Tamil, but one of those. And so Govinda Dasi, she saw that, and she went, oh. And Prabhupada saw her face. What? Prabhupada, oh, it's so gross, horrible. And Prabhupada looked, and he said, oh, he is suffering so much. Chant Hare Krishna. She did. Yeah, chant. And she went to the slug, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. So Prabhupada was feeling compassion for a slug. And another time in Los Angeles, Shrutakirti was there, Shrutakirti Prabhu, and he saw Prabhupada looking at, there was a flower vase. Prabhupada was looking at this vase for about a minute or two, and he just thought, maybe Prabhupada thought the flowers were very nice. And he said, you see, there was a little bug. He is hungry. And Prabhupada said, bring prasadam. So they brought some prasadam, little crumb. Prabhupada took it and put it on the leaf, and the bug went and started eating. So this is his compassion. This is the compassion of the pure devotee. That whatever, every living being, even though Prabhupada would criticize the Mayavadi, would criticize the atheists, but Prabhupada, his criticism was, sometimes one time Prabhupada was doing a Pandal program, and he started criticizing Mahatma Gandhi. And then he looked at the devotees, he could see, next day they will be criticized. He said, I can do, you cannot do. But Prabhupada was showing us, just as the Christians say, Christ, he said, hate the sin, not the sinner. So we hate the sin, the Mayavad philosophy, the Ritvik, this philosophy, that philosophy, whatever. These, of course, Ritvik, at least they're worshipping Prabhupada, at least that much. But Mayavadis, denying the existence of Krishna. Actually, there was one Swami that used to come. He was a Mayavadi, but he was a nice Mayavadi. Prabhupada also said, Paramahansa Yogananda, he was almost a devotee, but he was a Mayavadi. I know because I took initiation from him before Krishna consciousness. And so this Swami Tilak, he was nice, and he accepted Krishna as supreme, but he had Mayavad contamination. And he would come, and Prabhupada would give him prasadam. Yogi Bhajan would come, Prabhupada would give him prasadam. But if a Mayavadi came and said Krishna did not exist, Prabhupada would smash them. He wouldn't even allow them to speak. Because Prabhupada wanted us to be very convinced that this Krishna consciousness movement can only go on if we understand what the only reality is. And the only reality is Krishna. There is no other reality. So Srila Prabhupada would, but he would feel so much compassion. And that is the root cause of our fight. The root cause of our fight. Even Krishna, he killed so many demons, as Srila Prabhupada says here. But what was the purpose? Every one of them was liberated. Every one of them, at least they got Sayuja, Mukti. And Agasura, he got, and Putana, she was elevated to Goloka Vrindavan. She wanted to kill Krishna, and she got elevated to, and Agasura, he was promoted to Vaikuntha. Because Krishna choked him. So the spirit soul was struggling to get out of the body. And the spirit soul was, as he was coming out of the body, Krishna was coming out of the mouth of Agasura. And the soul saw Krishna. And because he saw Krishna, and he saw his beauty. Why did Putana become? Because she was appreciating Krishna's beauty. Because she appreciated Krishna's beauty. Of course, previously she was the daughter of Bali Maharaj. And when when Vamanadev came, she thought, oh, he's so beautiful. And because he was a young dwarf, he was young looking dwarf, she said, I would love to be his mother. But then when he chastised Bali Maharaj, she said, I want to kill him. So therefore, because she wanted to be his mother and kill him, she became Putana. And then, but Putana, because she saw Krishna so beautiful and also so powerful, she was promoted to Goloka. And because Aghasura saw the beauty of Krishna coming out of because he didn't have the same sentiment as Putana. So he was promoted to Vaikuntha. And all the rest of the demons, minimum they got Sayuja Bhakti, Sayuja Mukti. And they were able to, get rid of the three modes of nature were completely eliminated from their lives. So this is Krishna's compassion, even killing demons. And therefore in our fights, sometimes we have to argue, sometimes we have to condemn Mayavad philosophy. But when we see that Mayavadi, we're thinking, let me say Krishna, Krishna. At least they'll hear the name Krishna. Let me say it with all sincerity so it will go into their heart. And that will begin their path to bhakti. Bhavanti Hritkan Rasayana Katha. That as soon as the message of Krishna, Satam Prasangam Mamavirya Samvido, as soon as the message goes into the ear, it will go down to the heart. So that's why Prabhupada said, if you're preaching, the most important thing, my Guru Maharaj said, the most important thing, you say Krishna as many times as possible. Because anybody, Haripad Prabhu knows, you give a lecture, people don't understand anything if it's the first time. Generally, they don't understand. But if you say Krishna enough times, then it will go into their heart. And at some point, that Krishna consciousness will come up. And last thing I'll say, I'll have to conclude because we have to travel. So, Tamal Krishna Maharaj, when he was a bhakta, he asked Srila Prabhupada, Prabhupada, it wasn't Prabhupada, Swamiji, what happens if we start this process and we don't finish? He was a very intelligent person, thinking, why should I make all this effort, surrender, chant, do all these things, and then I fail, and I've wasted all that time. He was thinking like that. The Prabhupada said, oh, just like a bank account. You put the money in, and it increases. If you take the money out, it decreases. So you just put the money in, even if there's some problem, some failure, the money will be there. Your service will be there. And then when you do more service, it will go there until you go back home, back to him. They said, all right, now I can surrender. So that was Prabhupada's mercy. So I want to thank all of you very much for your kind attention and for helping me in my little effort here to do some service to His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami, to Srila Prabhupada, to this wonderful project. I'm very happy to be here and see how you are working so hard to preserve the tradition in this very traditional place. But even here in Salem, there are people who want the traditions to go away. And so, being very steadfast in the Sankirtan movement, fighting to establish the mission of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When outside people come and they see Gaurnitai, they have no idea who this is. Have no idea what this is about. Even anywhere in India except for Bengal and Vrindavan. And even Bengal, many people don't know Chaitanya Mahaprabhu nowadays. Nobody knows Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, now everyone, millions of people understand who is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And eventually, Mahaprabhu said I will liberate the whole universe. And Prabhupada said, how did that happen? We didn't see that everyone went back home, back to Godhead. No. He's giving us the opportunity to be his servant. So by this Sankirtan movement, we are the servants of Mahaprabhu. And Mahaprabhu's movement will go on. But we have this opportunity to participate. And that way we can go back home, back to God. Srila Prabhupada ki, Anantakoti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Hare Hare Gaur. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.